Thank you to the media that came out here on this really important public safety issue. My name is Stephen Parry. I'm the Commissioner of Public Safety for the City of Providence. I'm joined by my colleagues from Central Falls, both in government and public safety. This is an important issue across the country, but particularly to this state and the two cities that have filed an action here this morning. Let me introduce our mayor of the City of Providence, Jorge Elorza, who every day asks me about public safety in this city. Someone that cares about the safety of the city and is a strong advocate for getting us the tools and resources so the men and women in the Providence Police can do their job. Mayor Elorza.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you everybody for joining us here today. Before I get started, I do want to recognize some other folks who have worked very hard to get us to this point. And I want to recognize, of course, my colleague and my partner in government, Mayor James Diossa of Central Falls. It's great to work with you once again on this topic. And thank you for bringing your Chief of Police, a man who I know is doing great work because I hear from him every day. Chief Mendoza, you have a big fan in Stephanie Gonzalez, my fiance, but I appreciate everything that you do in Central Falls as well. Thank you, Commissioner Parry, as I just mentioned. I also want to recognize, with present company excluded, the best police chief in America, Hugh Clements. I want to recognize my city solicitor, Jeffrey Dana. I also want to recognize city solicitor from Central Falls, Matt Jerzik. Everybody played a role in making this possible. And also want to recognize a not only friend, colleague, and also ally, Councilman Wilbur Jennings. I appreciate you being here showing support too. Last but not least, I also want to recognize Steve Brown from the ACLU. Thank you for the important work that you all do on a daily basis. And I want to shout out my good friend Sarah Friedman from the learning community. You all have really leaned into this issue and been great leaders, so thank you for all of your support. So we're here today, we're gathered alongside public safety officials, members of the community, to talk about the current administration in Washington, which claims to support public safety, has inexplicably and maliciously targeted the very grants that support our local police departments. This absurd approach undermines community policing, and it would make us all less safe. Local police should be focused on preventing serious crime and not shaking down people who forgot to use their turn signal. This attempt by the federal government to target undocumented immigrants hurts local law enforcement's ability to gather witnesses and investigate more serious crimes. No city is safer, not Providence, not Central Falls, not any city in the country, is safer when a victim or a witness is afraid to come forward and contact the authorities. When there is no trust between police and the community that they serve, all of us suffer from it. We have police chiefs here today who can attest to show how critical this collaboration and trust is every day with police activity. You'll be hearing from them in just a moment. In Providence, the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grants, also known as the Byrne JAG Grants, has provided the city with over $200,000 in annual funds that have historically supported targeted enforcement patrols. And it's allowed the Providence Police Department to contract with a police liaison through family services. And this liaison is there 24/7 to assist in very critical and crucial local enforcement responsibilities, counseling children and families that find themselves in crisis. Without JAG funding, Providence Police Department would be unable to meet many of its core goals and objectives, such as reducing violent crime in the city, enhancing enforcement and investigative efforts, continuing conducting foot, bike, and car patrols. And I often hear from community members of how immensely important this relationship and this partnership with the police department is. And all of these strategies, along with the services provided by the liaison, are crucial to the safety and well-being of all of our city's residents. Excuse me. This suit which we are proactively filing, accuses federal officials of forcing jurisdictions into an untenable position of either accepting unlawful and unconstitutional conditions that diminish our ability to set our own law enforcement priorities and protect our community, or forfeit Byrne JAG funding, and as a consequence, undermine the vital programs that this funding supports. Federal officials have tried and failed to force a false choice on state and local governments. In some sense, they've said either you adopt the same harsh anti-immigrant policies as the federal government, or you don't get federal grant funding for critical anti-violence programs. However, we unequivocally reject this false choice. We will not allow the federal government to weaponize federal grant funding in an effort to advance this administration's agenda. When the forces that seek to divide us seemingly grow stronger every day, I'm more convinced than ever that the work that we do here at the local level is more essential than it's ever been to safeguarding the values that define us as a community and the work that keeps our city safe. We can't stand by while members of our community are bullied, targeted, and scapegoated by this president and by this administration. With so much uncertainty ahead, it's important that we come together to support one another in every way that we can. And that's exactly what we're doing. Today we're showing in Providence that we are a welcoming city, that we stand by our values, and we will fight the federal government's illegal and unconstitutional overreaching. And as I mentioned, it's a great honor and pleasure to do this in conjunction with our great partners in Central Falls, who you'll be hearing from in just a second. Thank you very much.